Hello, everyone. I'm Amelia Vargas from East West Microneedling. You may be here tuning in today because you're curious about bringing microneedling into your practice. I'm going to get Diana and Rachel on here in just a moment, and we're going to interview Rachel. Let me see if I can connect them.
Hi.
All right, hi.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. We're happy to see each other.
Yeah,
We're old friends.
Yeah. That's great. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for joining us today. This is
Thanks
really
for having
useful.
me.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about this at the end as well, but we have our live in-person integrative microneedling for acupuncture seminar coming up in Los Angeles in March, and we're really excited. And Rachel actually graduated from our first in-person integrative microneedling for acupuncture seminar, and that was in Boulder, Colorado, back in 2018. Yep. And so we have her here to talk about her experience and having microneedling in her practice.
Great. I'm happy to share. Thank you. Yeah, so let me introduce you formally, Rachel. Rachel graduated from Southwest Acupuncture College in 2003 with a master's in Chinese medicine, has been practicing in Denver, Colorado ever since. She's trained in the Mei Zen cosmetic acupuncture with Denise Ellinger and Martha Lucas. Her mantra is beauty from the inside out. She uses a variety of techniques in her practice, including acupuncture, acupressure, moxibustion, pro-cell microneedling with growth factor serum. That's what we're here to talk about. And etc. Dietary, skin recommendations, all of it. So, Rachel.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for the introduction. Thanks. So you took our course in 2018, which is, and I should say that course has changed quite a bit since then, although the foundations are the same. And we do try to keep it current, so we update it every year. But what do you remember were your biggest takeaways?
Well, it's interesting. It's been a while, so I had to really sweep out the cobwebs. But what I remember, when I bought my ProCell machine, I got a training from ProCell, and it was good. And I was able to start microneedling right away. But I didn't have a lot of the science behind it. And your class really showed me how holistic it actually be. And I was really able to combine it with my acupuncture practice, and just how it's based in, thousands of years ago, acupuncture's using 7-star technique, using acupuncture needles. I've always done cosmetic acupuncture, so it was just a natural progression. So it's really like a natural beauty technique.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So can you describe for us your typical microneedling patient? What kind of skin conditions or health conditions that you treat the most in your practice?
Sure. So my typical patient, it's most always referral, word of mouth, that they've seen one of their friends, or they ask, what I do for my skin, and I tell them microneedling. And it's people that want a more natural look. So I've got my older patients, my late 30s to, early 50s, and they're ooh, things are changing drastically. All of a sudden they're getting lines, they're drooping, but maybe they don't want to do Botox. So I've got that group of people. I have some male clients that are starting to see lines in the mirror, and because we're on screen so much, especially with COVID, they're oh, these lines. And so they're talking about it, and they're hey, I'm thinking of doing Botox. I'm well, let's just try this first. So that's one, that's two groups of people. And then my third group is my gals in their 20s, their late 20s, and they're starting to do Botox. And I say to them, okay, you're starting now, you have these very minor lines. What's the end game? You're going to keep doing it over and over and over again. And I share the story of this older woman I met, and she said, I'm in my 80s now, and I don't want to get Botox anymore. And she stopped getting it, and her grandchildren were like, Grandma, why are you so mad at me? Because she started getting her lines. And so she's I have to do it now, because they're so used to seeing my face paralyzed. They think that's how I look. and they thought that she was mad at them. So I'm like, so what's the end game? Are you going to do this like for the rest of your life? I'm like, I'm not, like, I am like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm vain. I'm like, do what you want to do.
Healthy vanity, man.
Healthy vanity, healthy vanity. So I just let them know, I'm like, well, let's just try this and see what you think. And then what I'll often do with my acupuncture practices are like, and then I'm just going to do a couple points here, which, as you know, yin tong, right?
Sure.
I'm like, I can just do a few points here, and it's going to, you'll be surprised at how smooth out you get. And they're like, okay, let's try it. And I do it, and they're just like, they're hooked. They really like it. So that's those are my patients. And they also, it's like sneak attack, get them in for acupuncture, get their digestion in order, get their sleep better, help the anxiety.
Right.
And just with that calming anxiety and getting them to sleep and getting a good dietary plan, you're naturally going to look better. Your skin's going to look better. You're going to be more hydrated. Your body's going to create its own collagen. You get some rest. So
Right. That's the whole beauty from the inside out.
exactly.
Like,
Feel better too.
getting it all together.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, do you do any hair growth? Do you do that?
Oh, the hair growth. So the hair growth, it works. The pro-style hair growth works, but it is a big commitment on the part of the person. And it's really hard. Like for women, it's really hard that they're thinning because you have to use so much serum and they've got still have hair. And so you have to use a lot of serum. So it gets to be like very expensive for the people.
I should tell you, they just revamped their hair growth serum. So,
that's good to know. Okay,
we can
so
talk.
people that want to do the hair growth, they have to really beg me for it. Like, no, I really want to do it. And it does help. Like my most recent person, he's starting to get thin, like right here. He can notice it when his hair's wet. And he did, like, there is some new growth. And we did like 5 weeks in a row, once a week, and then he took it home and stamped.
Yes.
And there's stuff, but it's just for the amount of effort that's involved, he didn't want to do it. And I even did it with like my husband. We had a real hair farm going, but he's like, it's too much.
Hair farm.
Yeah, it's hair farm. And like it was happening. So the people that I've done it on, like it does work.
Yeah.
It's just a big commitment. It's a commitment. So.
And what are some of the health conditions that you typically see? You said it talked about anxiety, but what about how about perimenopause and menopause?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I treat it, but I don't treat it herbally. It's not like my wheelhouse. I'll give them a couple formulas, like my basic evergreen formulas, and if that doesn't work, I send them to a herbalist, and I'll just do them just like acupuncture points and moxibustion for like the hot flashes, the sleep, things like that. So that's how it. And now that I'm now I'm just about menopausal now. I started like treating it more and more, and then people are coming for that. For that, it's all the same age. You know, like okay, you're in your 30s, like 40s and 50s. Like there's going to be some menopausal, perimenopausal stuff going on.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, Rachel, what kind of marketing do you do to bring in microneedling patients, and how easy or hard is it for them to find you?
Okay, so that's a good question. I do not have a big online presence. I've been in practice in the same neighborhood for 18 years, and so it's mostly all word of mouth and referral.
Right.
Also, how I do it is like people will be like, "Oh my gosh, your skin looks so great!" Like, especially like right after microneedling, my skin looks so good for like it's so good. You're glowing. I literally got a text this morning, like Rachel, like I have to look at it and share it. It's like Rachel, who did you go to for your facial? Your skin looks so good when I saw you, because we passed it. We work at the same gym. And I'm like, oh, it's microneedling. And she's like, oh my gosh, set me up. Like, I'm definitely going to do it.
Yeah. So you're like a role model. You embody it.
I embody it. And I tell people, like, I have never had an injection in my life.
Right.
I've never had a filler. I have had, just full disclosure, my uncle's a plastic surgeon, and he did do like blepharoplasty. So, because my eyes were getting really like crepey, and when I put my eyeshadow on, it was kind of like caking, and so he like did it, just like pinched just the top lid. Okay. So he did that. So for me, gosh, like 6 years ago or something. So I have had, that's like basically the only intervention I've had besides microneedling. And I tell people I am 52 years old, and I don't really have a lot of lines.
Mhm.
Like I do.
Your skin looks gorgeous.
But it's from microneedling. It's amazing. And I do need to get in for some cosmetic acupuncture with you.
Oh, I would love that.
Yes, I do need it.
Yeah, we're in the same neighborhood.
Yes, and we're friends. And so I do cosmetic acupuncture, but I can't do it to my own face because I need to have my glasses on and then the gravity.
It's complicated. Complicated. But you do your own microneedling?
But I do my own microneedling. I do it I would like to say every 4 weeks, but like I drag it out to every like 5 to 6 weeks. Yeah. And my skin starts to look really dull. I really can tell it's time for my tune-up. So that's
likewise.
Yeah.
For myself.
Yes. The other way I get my microneedling patients is is my patients. Their friends are like, "What are you doing? Your skin looks so great." And then I'll get like a whole group of like friends that come in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do it that way, which is good. I will share this. When I first started, when I knew I was going to get a machine, I told all my patients that I'm going to do this new exciting technique. And if they wanted to like book in advance, they would get like a big discount. So by the time my machine came, I had people set up to do it. And so I could practice on them. Yeah. So that's another, like for people that are just starting out, you got to develop a lot of like buzz before you take your class and have people scheduled. So when you get out of the training, you can just like jump right in. And
that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah. And then people are like going to be practicing right away instead of like, how many times have we taken a class? And then you don't like do the practice. And then it's just like out your brain.
Right.
So that's I recommend that to people.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Seal it in. Seal it in. I think
And I have a few people that still come like every 4 weeks that were that initial group.
Yeah, and that's 5 years ago.
Yeah, man, I can't believe it's been 5 years.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. It's such a good class. Highly recommend the class. Definitely. A lot of good information.
Yeah. So along the lines now of the device, I remember that you bought the ProCell device right before you registered for the class, right?
I've been using it for a couple months before I took the class.
Yeah. And what features do you feel like you like most about this device, about the ProCell?
Well, I mean, I love that it's not like a roller, because that scars the skin. I love that it's not like I love that it's going straight in and it's not creating any scar tissue, and people can use it like long term for their beauty routine. Instead of some devices that you get like an incredible result right away, but it's also like scarring, creating like a lot of inflammation.
Because you're prolonged inflammation.
Yeah, because they're just dragging something across a needle across their face, and that's creating like trauma. That sure, you'll get puffed up and look amazing, but like what's the end game there? Like my whole point is like I want to be able to do something for my patients and myself till I'm like 6 feet under.
Something that's healthy.
Something that's healthy and holistic. Yeah. It's a holistic treatment. So that's what I really like about the device is I really like that about it.
You like the stamping or the tapping motion versus the sliding?
Yeah, the tapping motions versus sliding, because then I can really control it. And I can see like where I've been and where I need to go. Exactly. You can tell right away, like, oh, I missed a spot. It's just really keep it simple, stupid. It's so easy. So that's about it. It's super easy.
Yeah, I'd say in some ways it's easy, but it's also in some ways it's there's a lot more to it than meets the eye as well. Right. So getting really comprehensive training, it's just so important.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, say keep it simple, but like I took your class and I've been doing it for so long. So to me, it feels easy because I've been doing it a long time. So I guess like that's true. Like I have student observers come from the acupuncture school to observe me. Right. And they're just like, this is the most basic thing. I'm like, oh, come on. You don't know that? But I'm like, yeah, you've been doing this for, it takes, you just get used to like, oh, it's easy. But yeah. I mean, I remember when I first started, I was like glad to get the information.
Yeah. And are you using the growth factor serums with the ProCell?
I am, yes. Yeah, I think that they're excellent.
Yeah.
Back in my rogue days, I used to do blood facials. So I'm a trained phlebotomist, so I would draw people's blood and spin it in a centrifuge and use the plasma. And I was using rollers because I didn't know any better back in the day.
A PRP because of your additional training.
Exactly. I was able to do that. So I would like siphon the serum off the top, and then I would use a roller because I didn't know any better. And then I would put their plasma on their face, and they got really good results. But it was also, but then when I made the transition to the stem cell serum, the results were far better.
Oh, excellent. And
Far
so
better.
much easier too.
And safer. People aren't walking out the door with bloodborne pathogen on their face, right? You know, people are walking out with like serum on their face, and then they're touching their face, and so I had some pushback from some of my like early adopters, and I'm like, no, the stem cells work better. Like, let's just do this, and you'll see. And it was superior to their own serum.
Yeah. And have you had any troubles with the device over the years that you've been using it? How's it worked for you?
I have had troubles with the which I know that they've changed it, but the charger.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
The charging, which I know that they've changed. Like one time I like knocked into where it was charging, and the little where I plug it in like kind of broke. But ProCell was super responsive. They sent me like stuff back like immediately.
So I know with having a lifetime warranty, it's just amazing.
Amazing. Like it was incredible. And my dad was terrific, and he just like got it out to me like new batteries, and it was fine.
That's great.
That's great. And how long do you feel like it took for you to make up the cost of the device?
Like a couple months.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic.
Couple months.
Yeah.
Because I booked everybody. I booked everybody out for it. Yeah. I mean, within like 6 months, I could see like the profit was very good. So,
yeah. So how, along that lines, how has microneedling boosted your income in your practice?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Like what, approximately like what percent, or what amount do you approximately take in per year?
So last year I made over $10,000, quite a bit over $10,000 microneedling.
That's great.
Yeah.
And was that, is that a small, medium, large part of your practice?
It's, I would say a little under 10%.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful.
It's but it's like I could promote it more. I just don't have I'm only one person. So there's only so much I can do.
I hear you.
Yeah.
And could you give our audience like maybe an insider tip about your success with microneedling? Like you've given them a lot already, but is there anything else that you would want to share?
I am the very low. I'm not like the high pressure salesperson. Like people like come to me and they're like, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I do microneedling. How do I do it? How can I start? Okay, like, well, this is what it is. And you've got like 24 hours downtime. It's not a big deal. And I don't like talk shit about Botox or anything else that they're doing because I don't think that's appropriate. And if people want to do it, everyone makes their choices, and it makes people feel better, then sure, do this thing. It's like I'm friends with a gal that does medical aesthetics at Nurture, and like she does that, and she also does like personal microneedling, and we like share information. It's so much fun. But yeah, I just think talking to people about what's your end game, like how do you want to you're aging every day, so whatever treatment you're doing, it's not going to stick. So you need to I just give the expectation this is something you're going to want to continue to do. And so I'm able to keep my prices low so people are able to just keep coming back.
After doing that once a month, that's fantastic.
Yes. So I have people coming once a month, and they do it. And then they tell when they people fall off vacations or sickness, COVID, who knows what. And then they can tell the difference. And then wow, I really can see the difference. So when they drop off, and then it's not a bad thing. It's like, oh, and then you say, your skin started to look a little duller. Let's freshen you up.
Yeah.
And so those are my tips. And I just am low pressure sales. People I have little signups as microneedling. What's on my door in my office. So people walk by, what's microneedling?
Good.
So people ask me. So basically I have people approach me about it.
Right.
Instead of me being oh, your skin looks like shit, you should try this. Doesn't go for not
so well.
I don't think I've ever done that actually to anybody. I don't know, maybe that would work if you're that kind of salesperson. Depends on it's just being authentic, I think. Any kind of marketing, right? It's just being what resonates for you. When you're what like turns your brain on, like what do you like? What's like gets you to buy something?
Mhm.
So that's like, then that's going to be your style.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
that's
wow.
my tip.
Well, thank you so much, Rachel.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure.
Yes.
We do want to tell everybody that we are going to bring our integrative microneedling for acupuncturists online course to LA.
Fantastic.
LA, baby,
Nice.
on March 18th and 19th. And we still have the 15% discount going until February 15th. And the code is earlybird15.
Sign up today. How many spots do you have left?
Oh, I think we have like 5.
5 spots. You better sign up soon.
Thank you, Rachel.
Yes, thank you.
All right, I'm just gonna write down here, early bird 15. There we go.
Wow, you're fancy.
Wow.
Learn.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
thank you so much.
Thank you. It's still going.